Bill Hemmer, co-host of America's Newsroom on Fox News. You know, I just sort of feel that we are, you said it, I agree, we are in a bad spot right now. I don't know why Biden said what he said about the sanctions. Of course, he wanted the sanctions to work. The diplomacy did not work, but that's yesterday's story. We're here now. I'm so interested in your, I'm calling it your chessboard, because this invasion from the north, I don't know if it was a complete surprise, but everybody was talking about eastern Ukraine. Sure. Using Belarus to come in the way they have, I think is a surprise, and I think it's an absolutely devastating blow.
I don't know if everybody predicted that yesterday. We saw where those stations had been set up, but you never quite know if they're going to pull the trigger there. Now, a month ago, they had set up there, and they said it was just military exercises. And you could have used that excuse to go ahead and station part of your army there. But they used another border to cross into Ukraine. And that's clear now.
And it's devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no stopping them now to take over the whole country.
I think it's a question of time, Larry, unfortunately. You're talking about sanctions. I read where just about a week ago, the Russian government took on $600 billion into the country to try and give themselves a buffer. Well, they knew the sanctions were coming.
They have accumulated in the past couple of years roughly $650 billion in Forex. You know what? That'll hold them for a year. That's the economic estimate.
You know, to your question, though, we're coming up on Ukraine is +7, so it's 11 o'clock in the evening there in Kiev. The initial attack hit around 5 o'clock in the morning their time. They were hit with 100 missiles, Larry, 75 fixed-wing aircraft and bombers. That's a lot for a country the size of Texas. The other thing the Russian military has that, well, that we perfected, our U.S. military perfected, night vision goggles and the ability to see at night. And we could do it where no other country had the capacity to keep up with us. Well, this is not an apples-to-apples comparison, but when we go into Iraq or we go into Afghanistan, we rule the night. Well, when Russia goes into Ukraine, they rule the night. And that's where they are now.
Yes. They're going to stay. I just want to throw this out. I'm going to ask General Keane. I'm going to ask a lot of people about this. This totally changes the map in Europe, and especially Eastern Europe. And we hate to see it, but it is true. Will they stop? Will they stop? I mean, Belarus is now, it's a Russian state. Ukraine, whatever you call it, is a Russian state. Everybody's talking about Moldova. That's their next stop. They've already kind of taken and annexed Moldova. Whether they all go into the Russian Federation is a political matter, but it's of no consequence because strategically they own it. But now they're on the border, right there in western Ukraine on the border. Poland, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia. I mean, that's really big stuff. And the Baltics are totally threatened.
I think the last two you mentioned are something that'll be of great consideration in the coming days and weeks, and we'll see what Putin does next. With regard to the Baltics, you're talking about Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. These are three tiny countries in my book. And how much do they have to defend themselves? Well, we sent more fighter aircraft there today, but just 4 between 2 of the 3 countries, according to a senior defense official. How much more do they need to fend off the potential for an invasion by Putin? Now, I'm not going to sit here today and tell you that's going to happen. He took 70% of his army and he surrounded the country of Ukraine with it. They are occupied with this war around Kyiv and other parts of that country for now. Your question about where he stops, I can't answer that. It's a golden question that is without answer for now. But Putin will likely stay in power, Larry, for another decade. Could he stay in power for longer? I guess he could. He's calling the shots. Internally, there's some resistance, but it doesn't seem to have materialized very much, does it? Putin's the man in charge, and he is a singular individual who makes all these calls. And it's going to be his call if he can fend off any interior resistance against him and stay in power. And if he does, and if we remain in the position that we are, and if NATO does not come together in a more unified way, and I know people have argued that they have not seen NATO this unified in how many years? I don't see it that way.
Whatever. Yeah, I don't see it that way
if you wanted to be independent of Vladimir Putin in Russia, why would you set up your energy system to buy his material?
That's right.
It doesn't make sense.
All right. Thank you for this. Appreciate it very much, Bill Hemmer. You'll catch him. America's Newsroom, weekdays, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Fox News, the best of the best, Bill Hemmer.